be inclusive that way. So if people make their way in and you've got some spots, you can say, hey, there's something over here. Also want to remind you, if you're here last night or letting you know for the first time, if you feel like a listening device would be helpful to you in the experience of the service, my friend Kate back there has those for your use. And all you have to do is wander back, and she will set you up with that listening aid. So we'll get started in just a moment or two.
At the request of my team. Ask if we're we're on time, I should say. Good morning.
If I sit here too.
Well, this is where Nina wants to be. Are you good? And I thought you'd be comfortable back here too. It's crazy in there. Yeah.
So now more officially and formally, Good Yontif, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. As you may know, if you picked up a bracelet or have heard, our theme is from the wisdom of Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, who tells us if we believe we can break, believe we can fix. If we believe we can destroy, believe we can heal. In so many ways that may speak to us personally and to our world as well, particularly this day, that we seem to focus on our brokenness, the way we are limited, the way we hurt and we hurt others. Maybe even more importantly, more important it is to remember his wisdom. That yes, that is true, and not but and. By looking into that brokenness and acknowledging it, we see paths to our powers for healing and for fixing. And so I give you that teaching, that piece of wisdom as your focus as we prepare for our prayers this morning. And the backdrop will be, you may not know this, but every year when I come up with a theme, Yuri writes a piece of music that is his interpretation of that teaching. And so this is his response to the theme this year that'll set our context for our beginning meditation, if you believe. Begin our prayers on page 138, Matovu.
Olecha Yaakov, Olecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu, Olecha Yaakov, Olecha ומקום משכן כבודך, ואני אשתחווה ואקרא אברך לפני אדוני יוסי. הטוב הוא עליך יעקב, עליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. הטוב הוא עליך יעקב, עליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. ואני תפילתי לך, אדוני את רצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, עבדני באמת ישעך. הטוב הוא עליך יעקב, עליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. הטוב הוא עליך יעקב, עליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל.
Our prayers continue on page 178 as the Baruch Hu invites us to sit both more physically and spiritually in our community in our prayers this morning. Will you please rise as we continue together, page 178. Prayers continue on here 178 through 181 as we take some time on our own, guided by the traditional Hebrew or interpretive translations, to give some attention and gratitude for creation out there in nature, or the way that creative processes impact our lives, or our creativity adds to the world. We take a few moments on our own to be thankful and wondrous of this dynamic of creation in our lives. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hamorot. We continue on pages 182 and 183. And similarly on our own, but shift our focus to Sinai-like moments. Moments that transform us, that inspire us, that move us, that impact us deeply. And we take a few moments to be grateful for these people, these places, the experience that move us, that transform us, and inspire us. Baruch atah Adonai habocher be'amo Yisrael v'ahava. Page 186 and 187.
Yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai, I da 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 da, I, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malkuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
We continue on page 188. Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Our prayers continue on page 196 as we come to the end of this section of our prayers. And the liturgy invites us to give attention to one moment that's, yes, part of our story in our sacred text, but continues to be part of our story in our lives. And that is of freedom and redemption. So as we sing these same words that come from that moment when our ancestors realized their freedom, we give focus and awareness and gratitude for our freedoms, and also for our obligation to continue bringing freedom to those in our world who don't have it, whatever it is they're bondage to. We're page 196. We continue together.
Ay, 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 ay. kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osef elech. Ay, 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 Shira Hadasha Shibehu Geulim Leshimcha Al Sfat Hayom. Ay, 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 Yachad kulam hod v'mlihu v'hameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed.
Our prayers continue on pages 198, 199. Our sages call this part of our prayers Ha-Tefillah, the prayer. As is the innermost part of our service, it hopefully affords us entranceway to our innermost parts as well. And as appropriate for the day, it holds our vidui, our confessional, that we will offer together in just a bit. But first, we spend a few moments in individual preparation in these meditations on these couple pages before we rise together and walk the pathway towards that innermost parts of ourselves. We take a moment. We're on page 200.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר השתי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באחווה. זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים וכותבנו בספר החיים למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומק נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע. מי כמוך אל הרחמים זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Please be seated. We continue on page 208. It's hard to turn off our brains, our egos, whatever you may call them. What gets us through the world that's important, navigates our lives. And so when we come here to pray together, of course we lean into that faculty of us, especially us, the people of the book. We read, we think, we analyze. And yes, that's an important part of us, but that is not all. Our tradition recognizes the four realms in which we live: the physical, the emotional, the intellectual, and the spiritual, each with their valid place. And so why so many of us lean in that intellectual, the nature of who we are in our world, we do ourselves a disservice if we approach this time and space only with that. Sometimes in our prayers lend themselves more towards that more holistic approach, while others challenge us to get back into that familiar corner. We reach this with these prayers, Unatan Tokef, Rosh Hashanah. These prayers whose words and ideas are threatening, they're challenging. They proclaim that awful, you may see translation in some of sacred in some of our books, but it also can translate as terrible and awful nature of this day. They remind us of our limitedness, of the fleeting nature of our existence. And so perhaps it's with our mind that we want to make sense or retreat. If that's where you are this Yom Kippur, then you should trust that voice and that instinct. But I also put out when we hear these prayers, whether it's the words we sing, the interpretations that are there, or the music behind them, that we endeavor to listen to pray with beyond our minds, with heart, with body, with spirit. And let the challenge, let the power of these words and their meaning and their sound push us and prod us and engage the full of us as we seek to welcome and experience the full possible meaning of the day. We're on page 208 as we continue.
Kiddushat hayom unetane tokef Kiddushat hayom ki hune ayom uvotinasei Malchutecha v'kon b'chesed kiseka v'teshev alav me'emet.
Let us continue together on page 213. An empty page, an open book, a day of ultimate questions. Will I still be here next year at this time with the ones I love beside me? What's in store for my family? Come with my who will have reasons to celebrate, who will attend and grieve. We love the babies, marriages, keeping in great my heart. Prosperity, struggle, reversal of fortune, illness and health among us. Who will be missing when we gather next? Who will stand apart? Who will be estranged? And who will join us to teach our belief? On the edge of the unknown we travel. What lies ahead for us all? An empty page, an open book, nothing is written and nothing is sealed. Flesh and blood, forever creatures, our lives are fleeting in such changes. Yet this is the best, the strength to persist, to prevail, to comfort one another in the dark. Prayer, right action, a turning toward good, these lead us hope and help us bear the meaning of life.
B'Rosh Hashanah Yekatevun Uv'yom Som Kippur Yom Som Kippur Yechatemun B'Rosh Hashanah Yekatevun Uv'yom Som Kippur Uv'yom Som Kippur Yechatemun Kama ya'avorun V'chama yibareun Mi yeh u'mi yamut Mi v'kitzo u'mi lo v'kitzo B'Rosh Hashanah Yekatevun Uv'yom Som Kippur Uv'yom Som Kippur Yechatemun B'Rosh Hashanah Yekatevun Uv'yom Som Kippur Uv'yom Som Kippur Yechatemun Mi va'esh u'mi va'mayim Mi va'cherev ומי וחיה, מי ורעב, ומי ועצמה, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון, מי ורעש ומי ומגפה, מי וחניקה ומי וסקילה, מי יענוח ומי יענוע, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון, מי ישקיט ומי יטורף, מי ישלב ומי יתייסר, מי יעני ומי ישיר, מי יושפל ומי ירום, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון, בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור, וביום צום כיפור ייכתבון.
We continue our tefillah and our prayers on page 307. We'll jump ahead. As we make room for our vidui this morning. Usually in this section of the service, if you're familiar, kind of the ebb and flow, we'll do this communal part of tefillah, and then we leave ourselves for this time alone, for our personal and private reflections, meditations. But this morning, which is so different, this is different too. This time, we create this space, this time before our communal vidui. We make room for our personal reflection. It's different not only because of order, but because of time. We're not too good with silence, we moderns. So usually it's 30, 45 seconds. I don't time it. I'm just sensing it, but it's about that. But this morning, it's going to be longer. This is Yom Kippur. This is our vidui of this day. And so maybe you have plans and intention for other parts of this day or have done so this past week for that work of introspection, of cheshbon hanefesh, of an accounting of our souls. If you had, this time will be a great supplement, but maybe it's also your one window. And so we need to make sure we make time for this time to go deep, to reflect on each corner of our life, each relationship, each space in which we live, and to honestly look at ourselves and see our blessings and see our limitations. And so this silence will be a bit longer than you may be used to, but you also may have some guidance in the meditations around that start on 307. As a focus, as a framework, We're in the section in the prayer book of our Vidui, and so there might be some other meditations on the pages that precede. Follow your gut and go there and trust them. But we now begin and take our time for our personal and private preparation for Vidui, for confessional, for reflection this morning. We now rise together as one community for our Vidui, which you can find at the bottom of page 296.
Ay, 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 ay. Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi. Ay, 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 hey, Avinu, Vehir Shanu, Zadnu, Hamasnu, Tafalnu Shaker. Ay, 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 Yatznura, Kizavanu, Halatznu, Maradnu, Niaznu. Ay, 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 Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Orev. Ay, 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 Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Ta'inu, Titanu. Ay, 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 ay.
Of these wrongs we are guilty. Let's continue together. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely, we are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander, we devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes. We are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. Ay, 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 ay. Please be seated. We're on page 300 as our Vidui continues. We'll continue in Hebrew and English, and please either read the Hebrew with me or respond in the English as we continue together. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha ba'ones uvratzon, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'yod'im uvlo yod'im. The ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, and harm we have caused in your world consciously and unconsciously. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bivli da'at, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ritzat raglayim lahara. The ways we have wronged you through our thoughtlessness, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bechozek yad, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha bezilzu horim umorim. To you by abusing power, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha beyetzer hara, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha bekashyut oref. The ways we have wronged you by giving into our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through inflexibility and stubbornness. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'chachash u'chazav, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'kalut rosh. The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'siach sifotetenu, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'tzarut ayin. Wronged you in our routine conversations, and harm we have caused you in your world. V'al kulam elohas lichot salach lanu machal lanu kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, source of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, and lead us to at-one-ment.
V'al kulam elohas lichot salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu v'al kulam elohas lichot salach lanu mechal lanu salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu.
We continue on page 304. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'galui uvasater, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'sinat chinam. The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by hating without cause. V'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'frikat ol, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'ma'achal uv mishteh. The way we have wronged you by losing self-control, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'gilui arayot, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'imutz halev. The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'neshech uvmarbit, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'masa uvmatan. The ways we have wronged you through greed and exploitation, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'hirhur halev, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'irchilut. The ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'chapat shochad, v'al chet shachatanu lefanecha b'chilul Hashem. Ways we have wronged you by offering or accepting bribes, and harm we have caused in your world by profaning your name in public. V'al kulam elohas lichot salach lanu machal lanu kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, source of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, and lead us to at-one-ment.
V'al kulam elohas lichot salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu v'al kulam elohas lichot salach lanu mechal lanu salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu.
We conclude our vidui and our tefillah on page 316. Shema kolenu. May our prayers be heard. May they be felt. May they make an impact. May they be meaningful. Shema kolenu.
Shema kolenu Adonai Eloheinu. Shema kolenu Adonai Eloheinu. Whose derachim aleinu אתקבל ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, אליך ונשובה. השכיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה. חדש ימינו כי קדם, ימינו כי קדם. שמע קולנו אדוני אלוהינו, שמע קולנו אדוני אלוהינו.
As we take this moment, as we shift and pause before we take the scroll from the Ark and hear a bit of our sacred story that we and Jewish communities around the world are sharing this morning, I'd like to invite one of our presidents and Kaplan to come and welcome you to our community this morning.
Hello, can you hear me? Cool. Hello, everybody. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, I just took a second to look. It really is beautiful to see you all here this morning. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name's Ann Kaplan, and I've been a member of Temple Micah for about 15 years, and I've been on the Temple board for 3 years. I'm one of your co-presidents, along with Mark Nassy and Helen Spiegel. And even though I'm a bit of a Micah fixture, I actually was not here for this year's Rosh Hashanah services. Instead, I spent the week of Rosh Hashanah walking the Camino de Santiago in Spain, from Sarria to Santiago de Compostela. Camino means path or way in Spanish, and the Camino is a walking pilgrimage. Over the course of 6 days, I walked about 73 miles, most of it in pouring rain and on soggy feet and with a wicked cold. It was intense, brutal, and beautiful, leaving me with lots of lessons, most of which I'll save for a chat with you over Spanish vermouth someday. Hit me up. It's really good. But even from the other side of the Atlantic, I felt impacted by our Rosh Hashanah service. The beauty of a full synagogue, energized by Rabbi Mo's presence and by another co-president, Mark Nassy's remarks, was really powerful. And hearing about it might have been the only warm moment that day for me after 5 hours of cold, wet hiking. Who else was here and felt what I'm describing, that power and buzz? For those of you who missed it, like me, there was much talk of change, the urgent need Micah has for you to step into faith and action with us, to play a role in Micah's changes, to share your ideas, inform our direction, and be with Micah right now. It created quite a buzz that is still humming. Questions, curiosity, inspiration, excitement, and maybe even a little worry. What's going on at Micah? Is everything okay? Why this sudden need for more congregation involvement? But for me, the overwhelming thought I had from reading Mark's words that night in my hostel was, Yep, we have gone through a lot of change. In the last year alone, we have moved buildings, relocated our religious school, hired a new administrator, and installed a new board. And yup, we are still in a season of change. In this current year, we will navigate the renovation of our new space, the last year of Rabbi Mo's current contract, and integration of a new director of youth education. So yup, lots of change. And yup, it has always been true that Micah is us and relies on our presence to exist. It has always been true that our board exists to represent us, and it has always been true that without our presence, we can't be represented. It has always been true that Micah's impact, efficacy, and reach is determined by us. Yup, yup, yup. The ideas we discussed on Rosh Hashanah are in fact not new or sudden, but we may have become a little sleepy to them. Which brings me to one of those Camino lessons I mentioned. I have to give you a teaser, so you'll take me up on my vermouth invitation. So, like I said, I had a killer cold for the first half of my Camino, and it rained nonstop. I had no idea. Each day, I just wanted to get the walk over with, get to my next hostel, take a hot shower, and put on dry clothes. I walked as fast as I could with no breaks, and arrived in the next town an hour or more ahead of everyone else. I separated from my group and spent the walk thinking about how great that warm shower would feel. It was miserable. But the Camino has a way of teaching you lessons one step at a time. And after a few days of this approach, I felt myself slowing down. I let myself just be wet and chilly. I talked with my friends and stopped for cafe con leche as if it were a bright sunny day. I was present with where I was, who I was with, and what I was a part of. I stopped isolating and holding myself apart from everyone and everything else. I let go of the every man for himself energy, and my misery melted away. Not because I was dry, warm, or over my cold. In fact, I spent more time walking in shivery wetness than if I had walked alone. But because I was connected, instead of hanging out in my private silo. After that, every time I felt myself slipping into grouch mode again, I would tell myself, literally out loud sometimes, wake up and reach out. A few days after Rosh Hashanah, I recapped with another board member, Sarah Visser, while thawing out in my hostel. We swapped stories of the questions and outreach we've seen since the service. And while I felt impassioned, excited, and full of faith, I also felt another big yup. Yup, this temple is awesome. Yup, we are alive and full of care, energy, and one of my favorite Spanish words, ganas, a fiery drive towards something important. Yup, we can come together. Yup, the heart of Micah is beating strong and waking up to this season of change. So what now? I urge you to take that Camino lesson. Wake up and reach out. You feel the impulse. You have the ganas. Here are 3 simple things you can do immediately to live that lesson. Attend the open meetings of your temple board on the 3rd Tuesday of each month. The next one is on October 15th at 6 p.m. Here, not here, but here in this building. Fill out the Google survey that you received in your email this week. Open the email if you haven't already, and then fill it out. And you'll receive the link again soon, so don't worry if you missed it. And 3, come to our open forum on Micah's future, which is on Thursday, October 24th. One last Camino lesson before I sign off. You will always have one more step in you, and where a collection of single steps can lead will amaze you. Take your next steps with us, and let's see what's ahead on Micah's Camino. Thank you.
We're now ready to take the scroll from the ark. If you please turn to page 252 and rise as the ark is open.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Va'anenu, Avinu Malkeinu Chonenu Vanenu Ki Ein Banu Maasim Aseh Imanu Tzedakah v'chesed Aseh Imanu Tzedakah v'chesed V'hoshienu Avinu Malkeinu Chonenu va'anenu Avinu Malkeinu Chonenu va'anenu Ki ein banu maasim Ein kamocha be'elohim Adonai Ve'ein kema'asecha Malchutecha malchut kol olamim Umemshaltecha bechol dor vador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz li'amo yitein Adonai yevorech et amo b'shalom Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'chanun Erech apayim v'rav chesed ve'emet Notzer chesed lailafim Nosei avon v'fesha v'hata v'nahakei Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'chanun Erech apayim v'rav chesed ve'emet Notzer chesed lailafim Nosei avon v'fesha v'hata v'nakei Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh v'nohora Shemo Adonai hagedula v'hagivura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod ki kol b'shamayim uvaretz ki kol b'shamayim uvaretz l'cha Adonai hamamlacha v'hanitnaseh l'chol l'rosh al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilud hasadim al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilud hasadim lo yisagoy el goy herev lo yilnedu od milchama lo yisagoy el goy herev lo yilmedu od milchama lo yisagoy el goy herev lo yisagoy el goy herev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy herev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy herev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy herev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy herev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Yehi rava kadamach, detiftach libi v'oraita, v'tashle mishalin lai libi, v'liba dechol amach Yisrael, l'tavul chayin v'lishlam. Amen. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe.
This morning our Torah portion comes from the book of Devarim of Deuteronomy. During the year, it's known as Nitzavim. And our readers this morning will read parts, selections from it. You can follow along in the Hebrew or what the English translation is on page 266 of your Mox or of your prayer book. One might think at surface glance that the reason this portion is chosen for today, that it reflects today. The Torah, which doesn't spend a lot of time on details, goes to great lengths to tell us that everyone is shown up at this gathering. And perhaps as synagogues around the world look and see how everyone seems to show up this time of year, it seems like a parallel. Maybe, but I suspect it's deeper. I suspect that list of all the different types of people and their diversity and varied roles and responsibility, and everyone being there, speaks to an important theme of this day and our lives. This balance of who we are as individuals and our accountability, our agency, and then our interconnectedness, our dependence on one another for so much, whether it's material or spiritual, to give our lives security and meaning and peace. And so as we read this piece, we are reminded of the nature of us as individuals and community, the way we human beings are wired and are given the parameters for which we gather, and reminded of the power we have as community, as individuals, and the choices we make, how they impact us and the world. Each and every choice. Individual, personal choice, collective choice. Collective choices impact the individual, and individual choices impact the world. As we'll have 3 aliyot this morning, our Torah readers are Erica Meltzer, Kirsten Miller, Rebecca Ritter, and Joel Bogan. I ask you all to come have a seat. Fortunately, there's plenty of room in the front row, so come on down. Sue Borges will be our Gabbai this morning, helping to preside over the reading. And as far as blessing goes, this is how our minhag, our custom of blessing Torah, will go this year. On Rosh Hashanah, we look back at the year that was and ask people who experienced different types of moments to honor, acknowledge those. So this morning, I'll invite you to look ahead, not necessarily to particular moments or things you anticipate, but more in the line of what it is you find yourself anticipating you will need. The mystics say that our universe is constructed on 10 sphirot, 10 elements. And so I've chosen 3 of those to see which it is that are called to you. So I'll explain them all now. Come up for one, come up for all 3. If you're not so sure about coming up, you can stand up from your seat. It's okay too. If you're not so sure about the whole formality of the blessing and can I do this or should I do this, all bets are off, or the nicer way, the more positive way of saying this is everyone's welcome. Whether your Hebrew is stellar or not so much. Whether you are a Jewish member of your Jewish household or not a Jewish member of your Jewish household. If you are called by one of these 3 elements as you look ahead to your year and you think you're going to need that or want that in abundance, then please come and honor that and be part of the blessing. So the blessings will be for Bina, for Chesed, and Gevurah. Bina is understanding. Think of that as head or heart, and the awareness that comes to us when we cross that line from not getting something intellectually or emotionally, but then coming to integrate that and see how that impacts us in our lives. Chesed is, well, it's love or kindness or loving kindness. Perhaps it is something of that nature as you anticipate your year that you want or need or hope for. And the last is Gevurah, which also has a few different understandings itself. Strength, discernment, judgment, power, fairness. If there's something ahead for which you need that type of approach or element, maybe that calls to you too. It could be for you personally, it could be for a collective of your community or the world. However you're so moved, please come. I encourage you to do so because at least we need a few people to come to the blessing. So without any further ado, I'll ask Erica and Kirsten, to come on up and invite those who would like to invite Bina into your lives this coming year. Ya'amdu harishonim shel Bina. Thank you, Nancy. Yeah. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Baruch hu et Adonai havarach. Baruch Adonai havarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah havarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Atem nitzavim hayom kulhem lifnei Adonai Elohehem Roshehem Shivtehem Ziknehem Vishotrehem Kol Ish Yisroel Tapkem Nishehem Vigirha Asher Bekerev Mahaneha Mehotev Etseha Ad Shoev Memeha La'avraha Bivrit Adonai Eloheha Uvalato Asher Adonai Eloheha koret imha hayom.
Leman hakimotecha hayom lo le'am vehu yelecha lelohim ka'asher diber lach ve'ka'asher nishba la'avotecha le'avraham le'yitzhak u'Yaakov Velo itachem levadachem Anochi koreit et haberit hazot ve'et ha'ala hazot Ki et asher yeshno po imanu omed hayom lifnei Adonai Eloheinu Ve'et asher einenu po imanu hayom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Tan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Mekor Binah. You who are source of life to our ancestors who have come before us, who is source of understanding, help us to open our minds, open our hearts, or whatever combination of the two, that we may begin to grasp what truths we need to know and integrate them into ourselves and live by that with integrity and intent. We all say, Amen. Thank you. I'd like to invite our next Torah readers, Rebecca and Joel. And then we invite all of us this morning who look into our year and could use a little more chesed, love, kindness, loving kindness, however you understand that. Ya'amdu hashenim shel chesed. Baruch et Adonai Habarach, Baruch Adonai Habarach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Habarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Ki hamitzvah hazot asher anochi mitzavcha hayom lo nifleit hi mimcha velo rechacha hi lo vashamayim hi lemor mi ya'ale lanu hashamayma ve'yikakeha lanu ve'yashmi'enu ota ve'na'asena velo me'ever layam hi lemor mi ya'aver lanu el ever hayam veyichakeha lanu veyashmi'enu ota vena'asena ki karov elecha hadavar me'od b'ficha u'v'vacha lasoto.
Amen. Re'e natati lefanecha hayom et hachayim ve'et hatov ve'et hamavet ve'et hara asher anoki mitzvah hayom lahava et Adonai Elohecha lelechet b'didrecha b'lishmor mitzvotav v'chukotav u'mishpatav v'chaita v'ravita Uveraheha Adonai Elohecha Ba'aretz Asher Ata V'Shema Lirishta V'myifnei Lavavcha Dilo Tishma V'nidachta V'hishtachavita le'Elohim acherim va'avadetam.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chacham. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Makor chesed. You who are source of life to all who come before us and to us who is a source of chesed. We all know